Be at 7 o'clock, we will call this meeting to order, please, and pledge of...
No, you were tonight. I just told him shut up.
You all set with the floor. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hear me all right, Ed?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Roll call, please.
Stephen Kennedy,
Yeah.
St. Jean absent, Martha Eldridge. Here. Tim Otterbach,
Here.
Peter Zavas.
Here.
Awesome. Dennis Legendre,
Here.
Roy Barron,
Yep.
Condict Billings.
Here.
Go Mercy, Pete.
It's okay, it's okay. I've got thick skin.
Probably won't be.
You're making a habit out of this.
Please make a habit of it.
Yes.
Minutes. Everybody read them?
Make a motion, we accept.
Motion is made to accept. Do I hear a second? Did you say second?
I'll second.
All right.
Yes.
Somebody.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I call for a vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Today's the 18th, right?
17.
17th. Tax day. Oh,
Yep. Everybody submit?
7 days ago.
Yeah, I didn't get my big refund
Who does?
Yeah.
okay.
CEO of some big corporation.
Planning, Saturday, April 28th is the Spring Planning and Zoning Conference. Caponi's Conference Center, Concord. If you want to go, you call Miss Carver at 603-271-2155.
I have something to ask about that. I'm planning on attending because nobody from here has signed up yet, or from zoning. I'm going down for the legal updates. Question is whether or not the board will approve spending the $55 out of the education budget to send me, or whether it'll come out of the town's budget.
You looking for
Suggestions?
discussion? I have no objections to,
Make a motion then.
I make a motion that we expend the funds out of our education budget to pay for the education fees, so Laura can attend the Planning and Zoning Conference on the 28th of April in Concord.
I'll second.
Made and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. You may go, young lady.
Awesome. That's what I want to do on a Saturday.
Don't forget to put your mileage in.
I was gonna tell her, don't put your mileage.
Good, here, sign that.
She's entitled to mileage.
So I but I never applied for it.
Just out of clarification, Laura, that line item in our budget, is that for, that's set aside for any of us to attend any seminars or something like that?
Yes.
Typically? Okay. That's what I thought it was.
Okay, unsatisfied conditions, we don't have anything to update on it. New business? Master plan? Anyone? Oh, Tim. Right, he did.
Oops, sorry. And Pete. And I'll get one this. And as you can see, this is a draft, obviously. And I have already started the first two, like the adoption statement and the vision statement, just as a draft, so that we can review that at our next meeting, if that's okay with everyone.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Chapter 5, Chapter 11.
Chapter 5. Oh, I typo. My apologies. I'll fix that. I'm glad you pointed that out. I'm aware of that. I don't have my draft, my rough with me, but
We just kind of cross out Chapter 11, make 12 Chapter 11?
there actually is 12 chapters. I can't remember what it is right now.
Now, this is just a start.
No, but it has to do with economic development. Or maybe it doesn't. I'll have to double check. I'll tell you what, I will make that correction and get it over to everybody quickly.
I'm making chapter 6 economic development instead of economic base.
Yeah, that was a typo too. My apologies. That's what it was supposed to be. It's a draft. Shoot. I'll have to dig it out. I thought I had my... Let me just take a look at one thing real quickly. So anyway, I'll make that correction. I can't find I thought it was here on one of my notes, but it isn't. Are there any other chapter additions we want to make or changes we want to make, or?
What is Appendix F?
Appendix F?
You got natural resources.
That should have
again.
said maps. Because our current outdated but current master plan has a whole sequence of maps relative to our
So is that natural map? Nature maps?
I would just call it natural resources maps, as opposed to town maps, which is basically just a map of town. And of course, like I said, without spending a lot of time on that aspect of it, I just kind of dropped, page numbers in there, roughly how many pages based on what's in the existing. So that will change as we fine tune it, and we can add or just, take away, but I just didn't know if we wanted to,
I think once you find what you're missing there and you correct the other little thing,
Yeah.
I think it's in pretty good shape personally, to start with.
yeah. The question I had, I know what it was. I didn't know if we had, like Chapter 7, Community Services and Facilities, I didn't know if we wanted to have a separate chapter on our emergency services as opposed to, fire and police, as opposed to rolling it into that one, which community services and facilities, I looked at things like school and recreation, and I'm not recreation, schools and, town hall and things like that, things that, other organizations in town that the community can facilitate.
Are they rolled into one now?
I think they are.
I think so.
Yeah, I think they are. Just to make sure I'm. Yes, yeah, like forest fire department, emergency services.
How many pages do we have now?
About the,
About 15 maybe?
yeah,
12, 15?
something in that ballpark, 14, 15.
Would we need to change very much in that chapter?
I
or-
don't really think so, but again, what we're going to do is, my understanding, or at least from our conversation our last meeting when we talked about this, is contacting, oh, the other thing I'm gonna send to you probably before the middle of next week is a draft letter, which will go out to, I'll send, well, eventually you'll get a copy to Laura and to, oh, for Pete's sake, her name went right out of my, Ellen.
They hang around me too much.
Yeah, to distribute to all the different town departments.
Ellen won't be here next week.
No, but I'm just saying, we'll get it over there, maybe the week after, but the idea is to get all of the input we can from all the various town departments as we're, you know, rewriting or reviewing or updating each section of the
Well, the
master
last
plan.
meeting, the board voted for me to write up that letter.
Would,
Okay,
Karen
no,
be,
that's fine, I wasn't sure.
taking place for the week, or is that just?
I already started. I haven't
No,
sent
that's
it out
fine,
yet.
that's fine.
Karen
Yeah,
will be in
there-
the office.
I don't think, yeah, I mean, like I said, to me, the community services and facilities, you know, to me, were more like library and, you know, the recreation department. Although I put a separate thing in there for recreation, which kind of talked about recreation spaces, like the Constitution Park and, you know, trails and things like that.
I don't know what anybody else thinks. Let's just put all recreation, like the libraries and stuff underneath that possibly. People thought that was good. Keep the fire department and the police.
No, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I'm just giving an opinion
No,
here.
no,
Because
that's,
you
I
said it together
agree.
now, right?
I don't see a need to split it out. It was one of the questions I had, but I can't find my notes. I thought I threw them in here, but.
Well, I think you ought to take the police and the fire,
As a separate for emergency
And-
services?
say, chapter 5,
Yeah, I'd probably,
because you have 3 precincts, you have 1 police department, you have a forest fire department.
yeah,
Then you have emergency services.
which includes ambulance and whatever.
No,
It's emergency,
ambulance is nothing. It's,
No, okay.
emergency response.
We want them all in separate chapters possibly then?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
but-
that- I mean,
I
it would make-
would move
Yeah,
the fire, police,
out
and
of,
emergency
Yeah.
management all in 1 chapter,
Yeah.
because they're public safety.
okay, so why don't I call that public
Yeah.
safety?
I mean, that's public safety.
I have
for-
no problem with
Also,
that
that's what take a
whatsoever.
recreation out of that area.
Right,
You just did it the other way around, that's all. Same.
Yeah, I was
same
trying to
result.
generally follow the lead in the original one, but I had a question about that, because to me, emergency services, or whatever you want to call it, public safety, should be a separate entity, because it really, you know, we deal with it differently.
correct.
It'd be easy for them to look up too.
Yeah, yeah. And then sequentially, I've reviewed, I think about 19 master plans over the last 2 weeks, just to see how different people address with things. And our format that we have in our previous one is actually quite good compared to some of the others, not just in the area, but elsewhere. I mean, I even looked at one for some larger cities and towns, just as a guideline.
I agree, I think we just need to rewrite ours, update it.
That's it.
And do what you're doing now,
Yeah.
separate
Yeah.
some of the things. Emergency service should be like emergency services,
The
period.
the one difference is in our original, I mean, the master plan we currently have, in the, let me just get to it real quickly, and then I won't belabor this point, because no need to. It starts right out with population characteristics, and I thought it would be real important to have a little overview of Ossipee history right at the beginning, which is appropriate to do. I think almost everybody else's master plan that I saw, there was either a paragraph or even a couple pages that, and I think it would be good for those people coming to town and for the
So-
people in town as a reference.
Well,
So-
you also, you're sitting there saying that Ossepe's been here since such and such a date.
Yep, yep.
And how it started was.
Right. I mean, we have a section in the existing master plan, but
We
it
have-
doesn't start with it.
You get the historical society, because this town actually
I will.
was a pretty good
Well-
business for a while, there, the railroads.
What's written in here is actually fairly comprehensive. I don't know if we had to add or modify it at all, but it's pretty comprehensive and.
You talk to girls on historical side, they'll read it over, they'll tell you what's missing.
Yeah.
Well, we have Cook's book.
Yeah, we got that too, but we have a lot of resources for looking that up.
Yeah, yeah. So I will make some obvious changes, and then, so So Laura, you were writing the letter, so I won't continue doing that. 'cause I
Are you
started-
actually in the history gonna go back to when Johnson Gas moved and the stores moved, or?
I don't know. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to
We
review.
only want the early history.
Yeah,
Up until when, 1900s, or? That's, you know, right, even the railroad's still running with passenger cars up into
That was
about
up until
56
the
to
50s.
57. So maybe I'll end with the railroad last passenger, maybe.
well, in the history section, and I see a little, you know, I just turned to one page and it says, in 1600, English fishermen, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it goes back. It's a fairly comprehensive,
All right, now I'm just looking for a place where they end it, like maybe in the last passenger train in the 1950s.
yeah, I don't know if that's in there. I only looked at it briefly.
I don't remember exactly, it was 56, 57, I think,
Mhm.
and when the last passenger train came up through.
Well,
I'll take a look at that. When we get to each of the sections, we'll be tweaking those
You know, maybe
anyway,
we
but-
don't need it, I'm just.
No, no.
I'm looking for a place to
Like I said,
end the history, basically.
this first stab at this was mostly to get some background information, and now what I'll probably do is spend some time really pouring through each chapter as I'm going through, but I'll also get the
So you just want to give me more homework.
vision statement. Yeah, I don't mind doing it. Like I said, I had fun doing this with another town many years ago, and it was a lot of work, but well, actually, we have 9 people on the committee, but, you know, it's already done. You know, the base is here, so we can build off of it and modify it as required. So, anyway, I will make changes to the table of contents, and,
Who's writing this?
we all are.
yeah. All I'm doing is drafting
He's putting
things
the
so
draft
that
out.
somebody has to draft it, and
Which
then,
I think-
and then we'll just,
decide whether-
you know, discussion.
We're giving them ideas for the draft. we'll-
I'm only
we'll
saying
finish things here.
because I downloaded the current version.
Yeah. Well, when it
So,
gets to that point,
When we get to the point, you know.
I may talk to you about this, because if, you know, I may just take a download of it, you know, and make some changes, corrections to it, and send it back to you. Is that how you want to do it, or?
It's up to the board how they want to
I
do
don't
it.
care. I don't care either way.
Well, if you want to make ideas, the board can make ideas and
Sure.
just sort it all out,
Yeah,
that's how
yeah,
that works, that's
yeah.
all. I mean, I don't have a problem with that,
But,
because it's not concrete when you bring it in, it's.
no,
it's
and
just
that was the idea.
ideas.
Let's get started, and like I say, next meeting, what I'll try to do is have the vision statement, which basically, you know, says what the vision of the town is, and that's based upon what I've already read in here mostly. And then maybe the history section we can review at our next meeting as well, and just see if there's any modifications or deletions or additions or whatever.
I think it's a good start,
Okay?
appreciate it.
Great.
Mama, you said you downloaded it, do you have it as a Word file?
Yep,
Actually, Lauren, could
so
you?
it'd be easier to just make whatever changes necessary, and it's there, it's together.
Yeah. Can you send me that in email when I
No,
get it? By chapter?
because not one person is writing this.
Oh, no, but what it'll help me do is, it'll help me be able to, you know, work on it and create a draft to give to everybody. And then, like I say, we'll discuss the draft and mark up changes and whatever.
When we get there.
Okay, that's fine.
Next item, we have sent Jake Dawson a certified letter. We got a return on it the next day, so he's got it. We haven't heard from him since. New planning procedure. Ms. Nash, you're up.
Because of Mr. Dawson and the whole situation that arose from that, I'd like to suggest that when we have an informal discussion and the board gives, you know, somewhat of an approval for someone to go ahead, but if they go beyond a certain point, they have to come in for site plan, whatever. Like I do with the other cases of writing up a notice of decision, I'd like to do something similar to that for the informal discussions, so that it's in writing, it'll be in their file that this is what they were allowed to do.
informal discussion, just what it is. And if he goes out of the rules, it's his job. We're not enforcing. I'm not sure what you want to do is needed.
I understand what she wants to do, but an informal discussion is not binding on either party.
Right, it's not an approval or anything.
Correct. We've gone through this before. And we could ask them voluntarily to sign something.
I'm not asking them to sign anything. I'm just
Well,
This is
no,
just a
sending a
document.
letter, this is what
Yeah.
took place at the meeting.
but
Once you sign, it's no longer informal. You can't do that.
Very quickly, I don't think we need to sign it, either party, but did we or did we not, at one point in time, send out a letter stating that so-and-so came before the board for an informal discussion and this was what was discussed? Doesn't have to give any type of ruling or anything else, but
Yeah, and
Was
and
it
the
a
language.
letter or was it in the minutes always? It used to be in the minutes.
Yeah, and then the
It's in the
language,
minutes.
In the minutes.
and then the language could just say that, you know, this is the information that was discussed and, you know.
I mean, I think
with the information provided.
Well, and the applicant is going to proceed, or is planning to proceed, or whatever he's, you know, whatever the language is that you want to write in it.
I think that we have to change the minutes. That when we have an informal discussion, that the person who is having is the applicant in this case. Applicant is the owner. And they state, well, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and have it in the minutes.
Oh, right, that would be a good idea to document it.
If he wants to send in a representative, it's his right.
Mm-hmm.
If he sends a representative in, then I believe the representative has to have a written statement
He
from the owner.
does that.
Oh, saying that he's an authorized representative.
Correct.
He's always had to have that.
Oh, first of all, I wouldn't even entertain anything that a representative came in for an informal discussion. It's gotta be the
Well,
property
no,
owner or the.
No, that's not legal.
Because the applicant does not have to be here. He can send Jim Rhines in to talk to us, which he has done
Right,
before.
right.
That's correct, yes.
So
But-
they're acting as their agent.
But they have to have documentation showing that
Correct.
they are authorized as that agent, even in an informal, I believe.
That's correct, yes.
That's legal, that's law anyways.
Yep, yep.
It's already
That's law.
there.
Well,
But
it's there
generally,
for us
when
for-
Jim Rhines come in, we don't ask for that documentation, because we know that he wouldn't be here unless he was getting paid or
But-
retained by the.
But when they come in for
party in
site
question.
plan review, that is a requirement. If they do not, if the applicant doesn't come in and they have a representative, one of his requirements as part of the site plan review is to have that document that says he is an
authorization form.
authorized agent for the
But usually
applicant.
when Jim comes in or
He states that.
Brian comes in, they usually come in with plans.
Mhm.
So you know that they're agents for him.
Well, they wouldn't be here unless they were being
Right.
paid, so I mean,
But
we already.
We've had several over the years come in, and we've made every one of them bring a letter, and we've turned 2 or 3 out that didn't have letters to come back to the next meeting. We've always told them there had to be a letter on file, signed by the owner, and I think notarized.
No, it doesn't have to be notarized.
Getting back to this, I think I think with an informal discussion, if we just have a little more detail in the minutes, I think that serves our purpose just fine, yeah.
We used to have a lot of detail. I know it disappeared back several years ago. It just got shorter and shorter and shorter.
All your fault.
We need to put some back in. It might be my fault, you never know.
Did you not see the 7-page minutes I just gave you?
You don't have it?
I didn't get no minutes. The minutes here.
It was on your computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Told you to look at that half the
Yeah.
time.
Yes, we did see
Sorry.
them. I
tired,
did
yeah.
see them.
Are we in agreement with doing that, or do we need to, do we want to discuss this any further, sending out letters?
I would think we take minutes for that reason, so you
Absolutely.
can go back and
Yeah.
look.
Yeah,
It's
no point in
informal.
having a separate
don't need
form or
one.
Well,
document.
your minutes, according to the law, the minutes do not have to specify everything. It can give a summary.
Right.
And I'm asking that the board, on an informal discussion, that whatever the owner says, whether his agent, that it is noted,
In the minutes.
and he is informed in the informal discussion that this is what you're saying. We're taking it down in our minutes, and if anything variation, you change something, if you don't come in front of us for a site plan, then we're sending Mr. Steve right after him.
We're not supposed to be sitting code enforcement, he's supposed to be doing his job. We're not enforcement, we're a planning board.
We have the authority to send Steve to do something.
This is true.
Yeah, that's a new one on me.
No.
He works for Selectmen.
You have to ask the selectmen. You have to ask.
You have to ask for something, you
No,
can't.
I do not.
Yes, you do.
No, I do not. According to the site plan review, I do not, sir.
Mhm.
It says,
I think you better get that clarified, because the planning board is for the lawyer, because the planning board is separate from enforcement, period. That's the law.
Right.
um,
I work for the selectmen.
now I gotta find it.
I'm looking.
I mean, we need a listing that's police, code enforcement, police, or...
I need another title.
And a new hat, right?
And a new hat.
It would be the MOGA hat,
No,
made
dude, it's an
Ossipee
informal
grade A.
meeting. Anybody can say what they want. Correct. You can't be held accountable. You're just discussing something, what you might or might not want to do and what might or might not need to be done.
Exactly, we need to.
Correct,
That's
but-
all an informal is.
Understand that, but I think what we're trying to avoid here is someone coming into this board, misleading us with information that is not relevant, or that they have no intention of going through with, and then leaving here and doing whatever they want to do.
Well,
Well, they can't, they still have to come in for a site plan review.
and.
That's
But
the
not if they
thing.
come in and tell us that they're only
They're
gonna use
not.
half the building and...
What?
That's the thing, they're not coming in. He's after them.
That's what I'm saying.
But we're
That
also
becomes
documenting what was said.
Correct.
So that it's just written down, so he has a basis or a guideline for what he's putting on his site plan review application, or including in his site plan review documents.
Well.
I'm sorry,
the
could I
other
say-
way-
could
the
I say
other way to
something?
cure that,
1 second, we'll...
Okay.
the other way to cure that is there'll be no more giving out on an informal discussion that they, go ahead, do. They'll have to have a site plan. That's the other alternative you've got.
No, we're not...
Oh,
I'm
so
not-
we just listened to a presentation, so that in other words, it would be giving us a sense of what he or she is planning to do. And we don't make any determination until the site plan review.
I wouldn't be in favor of that.
Absolutely not.
There's probably, if someone comes in here and they're moving it like Chalmers did, where they're going into a building with less use, or an office space or something like that, I'm not gonna make them go through a site plan review. If we got an insurance company moving out of a retail space or an office space, and then we have another insurance company coming in, I'm not gonna subject them to that.
All I suggest is, I'm gonna make a motion that we simply documentate our discussions better.
In the
So it's
meeting
there,
minutes.
And I think
and it's in the
that's...
minutes, and it's posted, and that's legal, and Steve has something to go by.
And I think that's all we can do. If someone comes in for an informal,
That's all we
which
can do.
they can,
It used to
we
be
should
done
just
that way, and
document it well.
somewhere along the line, it just got smaller.
Connie, when you have a minute, this gentleman has something to say.
Quickly.
I just quickly want to find out, if somebody comes in for an informal discussion and asks something of you about something they're planning to do in any particular business in town, and they're discussing what they have in mind, and then all of a sudden plans change along the way, an informal discussion does not hold them to that, what
No,
they said.
no.
And it shouldn't. And it doesn't hold you to anything. It's a discussion. Okay? That's all it is.
Right,
And I could change my mind as soon as I walk out the door about after talking to you, saying, hey, oh, well, after talking to you guys, maybe I don't want to do that. And go another route. The bottom line is they still need to have a plan, and they still need to go see the code enforcement officer for a permit. That's it. I would have to do it in any other town.
And if you're gonna change your mind, you need to come back in and or talk to code enforcement if you're gonna change your mind.
Right.
But I got a motion on the floor here.
I'll second that motion.
You wanna restate it?
Yeah, I said that we should
More details. in the
have more
minutes.
details on our discussions so that Steve has something to go by, or whoever is code enforcement at the time in the future.
Seconded, any discussion?
Just for clarification, in our site plan review regs, this is actually what we refer to as the pre-application conceptual consultation. Correct? Informal review is our conceptual consultation, which basically says, prior to formal submission of plan, owner, developer, agent is encouraged to submit to the board conceptual sketch, written summary of the proposed development. Submission is only for purposes of discussion. So we already have, obviously it's part of our process, but I agree that certainly, as Roy said, let's document it, at least the highlights of the proposed project, so that we have them fully documented.
Did you say they're supposed to write something? Is that what I caught, Nat?
The conceptual
Authorized
plan.
agent is encouraged to submit to the board a conceptual sketch and written summary of the proposed development.
That's a preliminary, that is not an informal discussion.
Yeah, it's a preliminary.
This is pre-application conceptual consultation,
Yeah.
not preliminary. So I'm assuming that our.
Yes, well, I think
Pre-application.
conceptual consultation refers to a set of plans that they want us to get our input on before they make their.
informal discussion?
No. No, an informal discussion is some guy coming in, or an individual coming in and asking some
We're
random
being
questions.
redundant then, because this says such submission is only for the purpose of discussion.
Correct, but that's if they have a set of plans that they want to get feedback on before
No,
they
no, no, it
submit.
doesn't say set of plans, a conceptual sketch.
Correct, conceptual sketch would be a plan, would be something that they're gonna
Okay.
draw down, okay, and they're gonna present it to us and then get our feedback on that concept.
But hear me
I
out.
don't agree with Peter.
Hear me out, Pete. We're telling them that this is part of their requirement, in the whole
That is
process.
strictly for someone who's,
That's not informal, that's
That's-
different.
Well, that is not part of the site plan. When someone comes in and has an informal discussion,
I have to disagree, Connie, because on the previous page, site plan application and review procedure.
they're not going for a site
Phase,
plan.
phase one though. Okay, I see what you're saying. So this does not
They are
pertain.
not, they are coming in
I
and
get
saying
you.
to
I understand.
us,
I understand.
to us that, hey, I wanna do this. And this is what I wanna do, like Chambers.
Right.
Chambers comes in, we sit here and discuss it,
I see what you're saying.
and we agree that they do not need a site plan.
Right. But they can still do an informal review.
Oh, yes.
Right, I understand that fully, because now I understand what you're saying, Pete. There are circumstances where someone is not going to be required to do a site plan, go through a site plan review, but they do want to come in and do an informal discussion, so that they, if there's any things that he's proposing that aren't in compliance or whatever, we can kind of help alert him to it with Steve's
correct,
input
and that's
during the
generally why
meeting.
Steve sends them here. But I
During the
think
meeting.
The passage you were reading was they're gonna go through with a site plan, but they wanna come in and get input before they submit their
Just like
plans.
Jim Ryan's came in,
Right.
or
Yeah.
Ossipee, down on 28,
Um,
storage, Ossipee
Yep,
storage.
yep. I see, I understand. So we really have
All
two
right.
different informal reviews. I
Call
agree.
for a vote.
Very quickly, discussion, Steve, any input on this?
This is all filmed, right?
Yep.
How long are these films held?
Forever.
5
You
years,
keep them, or,
There's 7 years of film. Yep.
okay, so if you ever need to have a look back.
I looked back at
You
Dawson.
can go back to the film.
Yeah.
I mean, we
I
don't,
went-
we don't need Laura to sit there and write down every little thing that's.
Well, hold on a second, I mean, he's not part of the town, he's doing this on his own, if he doesn't make it to a meeting,
Yeah.
he doesn't make it to a meeting.
Maybe in that.
We should have our own protocol internally to handle
Well,
this.
that's something you say to use, so.
The problem is, that if it's not written down by Laura and in the minutes,
It's not legal.
it's not legal.
Right.
Correct.
No, that's
But
right.
none of what's being said is legal. It's just an informal. You just want to look back and see
understand
what
that,
you
but
informally said.
But what Connie's saying, Dennis?
I know what he's
that
saying.
We are documenting what was discussed
And that
in some detail, so that everyone, both the board and the applicant, are aware that this is exactly what was said, and this is his intention.
Correct, because otherwise
Okay.
there would be nothing to stop someone from
Exactly,
coming in,
exactly.
giving us false information, and
And
leaving and doing
quite
whatever they wanted.
honestly, if we
All right.
had things that were, we had exceptions to some of it, we would probably mention it to him. But certainly when Steve goes to look at it, he could have that document in hand that says, these are the points discussed and whatever, you know?
All right, a call for vote. All those in favor? Motion carries. Mr. Steve, 11.14.1, non-compliance with an approved plan. The board shall bring to the attention of the zoning enforcement officer any evidence of violations or lack of compliance with the approved site plan. So we do not have to go to the selectmen. We bring it to your attention.
You bring it to my attention. Okay.
That don't make sense because we're not enforcement, so what are we doing looking at this stuff for? We got the right to walk
No, I
around.
think you guys are reading way too far, you're taking way too much out of that. Bring it to his attention does not mean we're gonna direct him to do anything. The selectmen
No,
will
my
do that.
point is, how do you know they're violating unless you walk on a person's property? We're not enforcement. The only thing we're allowed to enforce is gravel pits.
Because, prime example is Westwood Shores, and I asked Steve today. You know, on Westwood Shores Road, that's not a private road, that's a public road. There's a building there. And I said, Steve, what's this big red building on the left-hand side as you drive in?
Oh, the pump house.
And it's a pump house and it's on the plans. So, you know, if it was a violation, Steve would have,
He would have picked it up right away.
right,
Sure.
but,
And that would be Steve doing his job, which we all applaud. I mean, that truly isn't our overview or review.
okay.
Connie, just back up for a second. You were reading from what section just then?
11.14.1,
In,
site plan review,
oh, okay.
right. Special use permit. This is a draft. What's the second one, Laura?
Current one?
The original one.
The original.
Oh, that's the original? Okay. The only thing I would,
I changed it up a little bit to get a little bit more detail.
right. The only other thing I would like on that is, that the owner sign it as received.
Why?
No. This form is like doing a building permit or something. This is,
Right, I understand that, but
this is what we issue.
and what I'm saying is, what I would like to see is the owner sign it to say, okay, I've received it. So that there's,
Oh, underneath where it says or next to where it says has received special permit, his name is above in.
And how am I to obtain that? This would be sent after the fact.
Correct, yeah, so he would have to mail it back.
No, I disagree with them signing it. Once again, we're getting too
well,
picky again.
no, you're not getting too picky because if we have a,
You send it certified, so you gotta mail it, do it that way, and they've signed for it, somebody signed for it.
okay,
Yeah.
that would be,
Yeah,
That's the only way I could,
Sure,
that's the
because
only way
the-
around that.
the chair of our board
Registered
sends
or whatnot,
it
you
to
know.
them, right?
I,
We don't do that right now, Laura?
no, we don't.
So what's
Not
cheaper?
consistently.
What's certified, what's registered, which one's the cheaper one?
They both go together.
They're both the same price?
No, there's
Registered
a
mail?
price difference between the two, but when you send something out, it usually goes both ways, certified and
Oh,
return
okay.
receipt.
Mhm.
Do we need to make a motion for that?
Wait a minute. We're still discussing this.
Well, I am discussing, just asked the question.
Is there an application that's given out in the beginning for this
Yes.
permit? We
Yeah.
signed that, so why do they get signed?
Well, I think Connie, aren't you just saying that you'd like to have some documentation that the applicant has actually acknowledged that he has received his permit?
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
I say
I don't
the
care
simplest
whether it's
way-
certified mail
Yeah,
or,
but that seems to be the simplest way. He isn't belabored having to
The
come
only-
back into town.
I see a problem with that too, because I had a court case once, and an agent signed the certified receipt because they picked the mail up at the post office.
Mhm.
I think
So
you
the
can,
person that was addressed to
Yeah.
came to court and said, I never received that.
However, did you have a letter from the applicant saying that the agent was his authorized representative? Because
No.
if you
I
did,
mean-
then there's no, okay, so that's the deal there.
And that's like,
there is a box you can check on them. It says only the
The applicant.
person receiving, the applicant has to.
our addressee is
You
what it
just
is.
check the box, that's all.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I've sent a few.
Make a motion that we adopt the special use permit as revised on 4/2018,
Second.
and that the special use one sent out shall be sent by certified mail, addressee only.
Second.
Made and seconded. Any more discussion? For all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next thing is, Steve, you're gonna take care of this,
I'll take care of that.
because technically, if this comes in, he's not in compliance with all state, federal, and local regulations.
Absolutely.
What was that?
Natural, New Hampshire Division of Historical Resources is asking for more information from Route 16 self-storage.
Hmm.
All right, we're taking care of that. Old business.
We're not reviewing the specials, I mean, the subdivision regs or the excavation and reclamation regs? that are on the
I
meeting
believe
minutes?
that's later on, isn't it? That's later on.
Oh, okay.
Gary Cohen, the pit, that's up on Mass Ave, no, Chickville Road. We sent him a certified letter, did we get anything back more? No? Okay. The Berry Pit, Morse Pit, Ambrose Pit, Mayor Bowl. The Berry Pit has been given an notice to excavate has been signed. Coleman's Pit, Ambrose's Pit, they've been given, well, they're cured this year. Ossipee Aggregates, which is White Lake. Ossipee Aggregates Stationery, which is grandfather.
Berry Pit, is there something taking care of that? Do we need to send them a letter, or did we send them a letter?
We have sent both to Gary Cohen, Berry Pit, and Ambrose, all certified letters. We have heard nothing back from Mr. Sager.
Oh, on the Morse pit.
Of course,
I'm talking about the berry pit right now. Because technically they can't dig. So we need to get them in
well, they
here.
were notified, so.
They were notified. Who did that, us or?
We did.
We did. I signed the letters.
Thought you were supposed to go before the board if you do that.
We
It
did.
was voted.
Yeah, we
Was
did.
it? All right, I forgot.
And,
All right, I'm
and
sorry.
so just to clarify, just so I understand this, he cannot start digging a shovelful until he comes back and gets his,
Well, you're not gonna stop them because the town has already withdrawn gravel from there this year.
oh.
That discussion I do now.
That's right, now I remember. So the letter is kind of an after the fact thing, but
Well,
it's,
I mean,
it's-
we're just reminding them
right.
that they, and
He has to
the
renew his-
selectmen have given permission to excavate
Without permit.
without a,
They were not aware that the permit had expired.
I gotcha, I gotcha.
We have the right to shut it down if we have to.
we can. We have the right.
However, the selectmen will jump up and down about that.
That's their problem at this point. My point is, they should be given a time limit.
I'm of the opinion that they should have another 30 days to
Okay.
respond.
This is where I was going.
Yep, yep.
And, you know,
From the day of receiving the letter,
They-
certified.
I think Buskey's already sent his back, right? The notification? The card? Okay.
Yeah, they're in receipt of their letters, they've signed the certified
Okay.
receipt. The only one that has not is Gary Coyne,
Well, that one is,
but the other three have already signed their cards and returned them. So they're in receipt of our letters.
I would make a motion then, we pick up the berry pit at the next meeting, and see what happens between now and then.
oh, you wanna wait 30 days?
I think we just wait till the next meeting and we'll go to the 30 days afterwards.
Well, the next meeting will be 30 days, won't it?
No.
No,
No.
be the first Tuesday.
Well, he got the letter was sent on the 29th.
I'm not talking about from the date of the letter, I'm talking about from when we tell him that he needs to get in here.
Oh, I gotcha,
Give him a little time to get it done,
I gotcha. No,
And,
well, I think that's fair,
and,
considering that we don't wanna,
and, you know,
I don't wanna step on their toes.
you don't wanna
but
step on the.
that gives them 6
Yeah, right.
weeks to get their act together.
Ambrose doesn't expire until October.
Right, so that's not an issue.
And if he,
Gary Cohen Pitt, Gary is dead as far as I know.
and as the berry goes, if they need more time, at that point, they come and talk to us
Right.
and let us know what's going on.
So both Coyne and Barry need to update their permits,
Correct.
essentially, okay.
But,
And those letters were sent out on March 29th.
Yes.
yeah,
So by the time of our next meeting, it would have been
30 days, that's what I was getting at, yeah.
I do understand that, but
Yeah.
let's give them the next meeting, then give them 30 days. And,
Gary Cohen, I believe Gary is dead. I'm not sure.
which pit is his? His up on,
Up on Chickville Road, the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
that Brad Layton's got.
Yeah.
Brad took over that.
and the permit still needs Gary Coins.
It hasn't been
Updated.
updated.
Since.
That's the whole thing. Our records indicate,
He was in here after the other guy
2015.
died. He had a brain aneurysm or something, right?
Right.
Somebody came in here,
Brad
reapplied for,
Layton did.
yeah, for a new permit.
But the permit was under Cohen.
But I thought he changed that. That's
If
my
he-
memory.
If he changed that, the reason you're thinking about that is because he came in to talk to us about the 1,000,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
made him come in for that.
right, and we've never had a change of ownership of it.
We have sent him a letter on that?
We sent a letter to Gary because Gary was the registered permittee.
Well, with the board permission, I've got Brian's number. I'll give him a call and give him a heads up to
If
come in.
you got a hold of Brad, tell him.
I got his phone number because I go up and inspect anytime I want. They've been
Yeah.
fixing the roads and stuff, so he may not be aware he's got a problem.
That's fine. I mean, but we have to send it to
Yep,
the permittee.
I will tell him that.
You know, he can come in and talk to us and we can give him permission to continue for a little while, but
Yep. I will let him know. He hasn't done much other than his pile of process stuff, but that's still a bunch of that left.
And Connie, you said that the next two that are listed on here, the two aggregates, those are current as well?
They're all, one of them was in last year.
Yeah, that's right.
And the stationary pit is grandfathered, we have no control.
Which one is that?
266 lot 7.
Oh, okay. But his permit was dated, expires 2002. I see what you're saying. So the other one though,
It was grandfathered.
right, the other
White
one,
Lake was in last year, remember?
yes,
We
yes,
had that woman that said, well,
yes.
I can see that from my house.
Mm-hmm.
And what she was seeing was the stationary pit,
Mm-hmm.
not White Lake.
Right.
That was, it's now Green Oaks Realty off of Duncan Lake, and they are grandfathered.
Oh, that's right. Per RSA 155. Yeah,
They
I
were-
gotcha.
That's been in existence way before.
Yeah, long time.
There's been, I think, 6 owners of that.
So essentially, the only one we really, well, we have two that we still really have concerns with at the moment, and that would be Coyne and Morse. And Morse, it's up to our
No.
town attorney.
Barry.
Oh, Barry, that's right, because he's got it. Right.
Yeah.
Moore's is in the courts.
Right,
It's also grandfathered.
but that's more, what do they call it, reclamation?
Right.
Right. All right.
They have $6,700 in their
Yeah.
account.
Somebody's going to jail for this.
That's what I say.
Okay. We've done the special use revision. Subdivision regulations. I hope you boys did your homework. And ma'am. Basically what happened, maybe you ought to just explain to them, Laura, what you did when you converted it from
From PDF.
PDF to Word.
Will Laura take care of that fancy computer lingo there?
I'm not like you, Peter.
Okay. The only thing I actually changed is on page 17,
Oh,
subdivision regulation,
okay.
the new ones.
There you go, Roy. Page 17.
It's just now the stuff I have to go through.
Which one was that again, Laura? I'm sorry.
Page 17.
Okay.
Well, you want to see it, Pete?
No, I'll run it. You, board will excuse me from there, I'll run out and grab it off the front
Okay,
seat.
page 17, what's the rest of it?
Page 17. Right
Okay,
here.
page 17,
Yeah,
article 6.14, fees.
6.14 what?
6.14 fees.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm in that area, I just didn't know which one you picked.
Okay. As you can see, it's listed replace, and then I have a section 6.14.1 to strike. And then I'm questioning whether or not to keep or to strike 6.14.2. And then strike 6.14.3 altogether. Only based upon our current process of doing things. But this is literally the only section that I really reworded. Everything else is just layout, grammar, and realigning everything that goes from PDF to Word that don't transition over too well.
Is everything?
Yeah.
So do we have other fees? Is why you want to get rid of these, or?
We changed all the fees, and when we came across something which said that you had to pay X amount of dollars, we said, we referred them to the new fee schedule,
Instead of
so
having-
that we can change.
So we can get rid of, we just get rid of 16.2 and get rid of 16 point,
No,
16,
no,
14.
No, hold on. Six
make a
point,
motion, I make a motion that we strike the present 6.14.1 and replace it with the following: payment to all to cover all costs pertaining to a subdivision boundary line adjustment includes an application fee, public notice fee, and current first-class postage rate plus $1 for each certified mail. Return receipt fee for each abutter, owner, applicant, and agent referred to the fee schedule.
I'll second that.
Made and seconded. Any discussions?
Now, is that just 614.1
Correct.
for right now.
for the moment? Okay, we're doing it section at a time, or whatever, paragraph at a
Well,
time.
we're doing it.
Paragraph at a time.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor? Motion carries. Now, so we're striking this. 6.2,
6,
as present, all preliminary applications for subdivision or boundary line adjustment shall be accompanied by a review fee of $50.
Make a motion, we strike that.
I'll second that.
We've never had made seconded discussion. We've never collected that fee, as far as I know. So, anyone else wish to strike? All those in favor of striking 6.1, 14.2. Motion. Objections? All those, no. Motion carries.
I make a motion, we strike 6.14.3 A, B, and C.
Well,
Can we have a little discussion first?
Yeah. made a motion, somebody seconded it, we can discuss it.
All right,
Second.
I'll second it.
All
Just,
right, all discussion now.
okay, just for clarification then, Laura, as Connie read the replacement for 614.1, that generally covered all these fees that are in A, B, and C, correct? Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was understanding, that included the filing.
Which
for-
was why I recommended to strike it,
Yeah,
because
it's kind of redundant.
we, not that it's redundant, is that across the board with all of our forms, we've removed the specific dollar amounts
Oh, right,
and referred to just the fee
schedule.
schedule. So there's only one document having to be changed and not every single application,
right,
regulation,
right, which
every time that the
it
fee schedule.
simplifies it for us and for the applicants,
And for me.
and for you. I agree.
I mean, we've done it all along, so
Yeah.
this is just something that,
Housekeeping.
well, it's not actually housekeeping, but I think this is the last one we've got to do. Because we've done all the others, we've done site plan, we've done,
Well, we still have the excavation one to do, but
right, but I mean, as far as,
this is the last big one.
yeah.
Want to take a vote on that?
All those in favor of striking 6.14.3? Motion carries. So we're striking that. The rest of it, I found that reading through it is the same as last time, so. Now we'll go back to earth regulations.
We're gonna vote to approve, deny, schedule the hearing.
We cannot vote to approve or deny it until we have the public hearing to adopt it. So I was gonna go through this and then have a public hearing next meeting
Okay.
on the bill funnel.
We
Yeah.
have 2 cases next week. I'm
This
just
is
saying.
gonna take 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I know, but I mean, we have to have the public hearing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Two large
Okay,
cases
yeah.
next time.
yeah, no, they're
No,
not.
one site plan, one subdivision.
Subdivisions, we've already talked about and everything. You wanna make a motion that we didn't have anything in here to replace this, did we?
The only thing I did was page 6. Again, the fee schedule. You brought up the following one, 4.4 bonds.
Right.
And then page 17. I changed all the names at the bottom.
You know, I'd like to talk about the bonds when we get a chance.
Well, we will.
That's what we're here to do.
So we do not have a D. We do not have a paragraph to replace this.
Which one?
B, 4.3.
Keep D and get rid of the rest?
No, you have to keep E because that's a permit fee
Yeah,
is
that's-
$50 by
That whole
state.
thing's an ad
This whole thing is an ad?
on 4.3, yes.
Right.
That's an ad?
Ad.
All right.
Oh, actually, no, it's not. Sorry.
No, it's not.
Here's the old one for 4.3.
So,
That's the answer. Yeah.
we didn't have it all.
Yeah.
A little problem with D, because you call me a gravel pit inspector. You got a regulator in there. And according to Connie, the rules are different for both.
No, that-
Regulator has a lot of authority, the inspector apparently does not.
We are the regulator
The
by
planning
RSA.
board, the planning board is the regulator.
You are the inspector.
I still read
You are
that
the
paragraph
representing
differently.
agent for the regulators.
So do we call it representing agent? Good, we'll give the big badge.
Stop it.
No, my point is that I have a few avenues, so not a lot. But
Your job as appointed by the planning board was to go and inspect the pit. If you found anything in error, you were to bring it back to the board as regulators. And at that time, the regulators could send a letter to the pit owner and the state.
I understand that.
So you do not have the authority to shut somebody down.
I understand that too.
Okay.
State law, if it's pointed right, you do have that authority, but you guys don't want to give it, so.
Now, based upon our discussion last meeting, when we talked about this, he does have the authority to notify if somebody's on site that they are not in compliance,
I can notify Mary Pinkham.
but he can't shut them down. Is that correct?
The way I understand the law, and I will, you give me a few minutes, I'll look it up.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't remember how we discussed, what we discussed last meeting, specifically, but I thought that we identified that if he identifies a problem that is out of compliance, he can notify the operator if he's there. But he can't tell him to stop.
Not the way it's wrote up, not the way the planning board wrote up, no.
Okay.
Enforcement,
Oh, I'm reading it.
155-E10. The regulator or its duly authorized agent may suspend or revoke the permit of any person who has violated any provision of his permit or of this chapter or made material misstatement in the application upon which his permit was granted. Such suspension or revocation shall be subject to a motion for rehearing thereon and appeal in accordance with 155-E9.
That was my point. You made me the inspector, so I don't have that authority. But technically speaking, I can have that authority if I was the agent. Just like he has authority to shut somebody down because he's the selectman's agent. We had this discussion last time, you told me I was wrong.
I thought
Nope.
at the last
Yeah.
meeting, you
I
guys
understand
agreed
that.
that he has the authority to suspend.
Right,
Not
but
shut down.
But not revoke.
Right, not revoke, but he could suspend, and then he's gotta call, is it Mary?
Mary Pickens.
Pinkham.
Actually, you don't have to call Mary Pickens to suspend because it's the board's authority coming for the planning board again. That's the law. That's our jurisdiction, not Mary Pinkham's.
With the word on.
And that was my point.
But the point too, Roy, is just like 3, to assert that if there is compliance with this chapter, a permit issued thereunder or order issued hereunder, the regulator or its duly authorized agent may enter upon any land on which there is reason to believe an excavation is being conducted or has been conducted since August 24th, 1979. And Mary Pinkham says, no, you can't do that.
Mary Pinkham can't make her own rules up. I don't give a
I
damn
know
what
that,
she says.
but,
Period. The state wrote that. She is not the state. The legislature is the state. That gentleman right there is one of the people who votes on that kind of stuff.
She said that's a gray area.
That's not a gray area. It's plain English.
I understand
It-
that.
And I'm perfectly
pretty
willing to tell her that.
straightforward to
I have
me.
already told her that. I'm not bashful.
Okay,
I'm good with that.
So, my
Back to
question is, do
4.3.
I, do I not have the authority, or am I just an inspector? That was my point.
well, once we get this done, then
But when the board, went as a board, they shut them down on the spot if there was a problem. Or made them correct it.
all right, 4.3.
So, back to this is all stuff you added, right? A, B, C, D, and E, this is added, or was already there, we need it.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't
A, B, C, D was already there, but again, it's with the fees listed, and I've just removed those
Make
aspects.
a motion that we accept 4.3, fee schedule,
As
and
revised.
as revised in the earth excavation and reclamation regulations of Ossipee Planning Board.
Second that.
Being seconded, any more discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. 4.4, the heading is bound, a bond. We do not accept a bond anymore, or a letter of credit.
I know we don't accept them, but once again, you're hitting in a gray area, I think. I can't name names up asking permission, but I know of a particular town, a particular company, when the town said they didn't take bonds no more, he looked at it and said, you take the bond or I'm gonna sue the town, they took the bond.
Well, that's their
Because
privilege.
their lawyer made it pretty plain they was losing court. I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention. So I don't think you can legally refuse the bond. My opinion.
Well, we can be more strict than the state doesn't say anything about.
No.
I mean, I can just change the word bond to cash or cashier's check. Bank issued check.
Might be the way around it.
Dennis?
Threaten a lawsuit, call a lawyer and see what he thinks.
So it's a permit, yeah. I've been trying to see if it's permitted.
We need a motion for that, or is that something you can just do?
You guys.
What's
We
the
did
issue
vote-
here?
We did vote the bonds out.
The bond, she's got it, it's 4.4 is a bond,
Correct, so just remove bond.
but it's a reclamation. So you could put reclamation fee,
For title, yeah.
which states that a cash shouldn't be bond, I don't believe.
Well, that has to go unless we bring bonds back in. That's pretty obvious. Reclamation fee or
Reclamation fee of cash,
cashiers.
certified check are sufficient to guarantee compliance.
Do we cash these checks by chance?
No, the
No.
town
Oh, they just
treasurer
hold them.
takes it. They have the applicant has the authority to say to Harry, I would like that in the CD, please.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Or I want it in the savings account.
That's what I was asking. That eventually gets cashed, right?
It has to be a cash
So my point was, can we, I don't know if we need to or not, but my point was, can we take a business check if it has a letter from the bank stating it would be good, like some auctions do? Is that something we're interested in doing or not? I don't think we need to, but just a question.
I think in matters like this, it's pretty customary just to have like a bank check, an official check.
Cashier's,
Cashier's
yeah,
check.
bank check, which is cashier's.
That's all I was
check.
asking, I just put it by, because you go to a lot of places, you get a bank letter saying that the account's good for well over that amount. A lot of places accept that. I didn't know if something we wanted to throw in there or not.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to get into that. I mean,
We
generally,
don't
anything,
need to, it's
anything
just a
over a few
question.
$1,000s, bring a cashier's check.
You're talking $30,000 to $35,000.
Yeah, that's correct. So bring a cashier's check. Nobody will. who
I
wants
just
to-
know people got the money in the bank. Some people don't.
Yeah, and even people with money in the bank will still cut a cashier's check for a large payment.
Yeah, I
mean, it's just-
understand.
Especially to the town.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm good with that. Just a question I want to put out.
We're good with going with a reclamation fee
Yeah.
for a reclamation or?
Yeah, we'll change the title to reclamation fee, and then within the bullets, wherever it says bond, I'll change that to cash/cashier's check,
Yep.
or bank issued cashier's check,
Yeah,
however.
Cashier's check is a legal term.
So,
All right, make a motion that we change that to reclamation fees, and that where it says a bond, we change to cash or certified check.
I'll second.
Bank check, excuse me.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Motion carries. And page 17 is the only other one.
yeah. Yes.
Make a motion that we accept the page 17 because of change of the majority of signatures required.
Just a point of order here, Connie, do we normally have our alternate sign?
Anybody, it's just the majority.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that Rick St. Jean's name was on the list.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm just asking, I just didn't know
I
if that's.
listed it because that's the board,
Okay,
Yeah.
I just didn't know if that was.
whether he's here to sign it at the time.
He can't sign it technically.
He can't.
No, he
Not
can't.
with-
That's
Not
why I'm
listed.
saying I don't know why his name is even listed there then.
Only if he's brought as a
No,
voting
he
member.
can't
even
even,
then.
he cannot even be a voting member.
Right.
There are three of us on the trustee and trust funds. There are only allowed two from the planning board. Rick may be raised to sit at the table,
As in,
but he cannot have a vote. And that is state law.
okay.
I mean, that's why we're short of a member.
Right.
I think he intends to straighten that out in the near future, but anyways.
Well, he either quits one job or the other.
We're going to discuss that right here with him on the table.
No, but I'm saying that's what his options are at the time.
Page 17?
So I move that we remove
You made the
him.
motion, right?
I made a motion that we,
I'll second it.
Motion was what?
To
Two.
accept.
to
To
accept it.
accept the changes I made on page 17.
Thank you. Yes.
So I would take Rick off.
I would hold on that temporarily, personally. Because once he straightens things out, he'll be an alternate again, he can sign.
Well, at the present time,
That's right. We should
we're
hold up our-
talking now.
Yeah, we
We're not
should not.
talking next week. We're not talking,
Well, my problem with that is he was an alternate before he ran for office.
Rick,
So,
Roy,
there's
I'm
a
not
conflict
gonna, it's not a discussion.
Well, then,
That's the
I
motion I
object to take it
made.
off.
You can vote no, or you can vote yes.
Or you can abstain.
Well, I understand that, but it seems to me that discussions are open, but every time I bring a discussion, you interrupt me. I'm a little tired of that, Mr. Chairman. This is the second time tonight you've told me I can't discuss things, and I got a perfect right to discuss things.
You're the one that told me that we were on camera and not to discuss it.
Yeah, but I've made a point. I think the name should stay temporarily until he gets a chance to come in and state his intentions. That's what I'm saying.
Technically speaking, and I guess this is a clarification point, is a alternate an actual member of the planning board or the zoning board? They are considered a member of the board.
They're appointed by the Board of Selectmen.
No, they're appointed by the board in question,
But isn't,
and then the
wasn't,
selectmen okay it.
Right.
but was he not
He is,
appointed as a select board's rep?
No.
yes,
Who?
an alternate.
An alternate.
An
Alternate.
alternate and an alternate for the selectmen's rep.
Okay.
Well, at the time, Peter, Frank was sick, and Frank was the rep.
Right, right.
So that's why they did that.
Frank.
Riley?
Riley.
And they also left him there
Oh,
because
well,
in case nobody showed up.
any appointment by the selectmen is only good for a year, so that's all done, unless you got reappointed last year. I was a selectman's rep, it was annual. Every year you have to be reappointed,
That is correct.
so that's gone.
Your regular alternate is appointed for 3 years.
Correct, which is, he's a regular alternate.
As well as was before the selectmen's alternate.
We have a motion on the floor.
If he's not here to vote, like he isn't tonight,
He can't vote anyways.
oh, he can't.
No,
No, he cannot.
not unless he's elevated by
He
the chairman. Oh, right, right. No, you're right.
So no, we
I-
should,
Peter,
You're
I
right.
went through this.
The problem is, he's been an alternate before he ran, he just ran and got elected, and he's still an alternate. Conflict of interest. Rick was here first.
who are you referring to? Who are you pointing to, me?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
No.
Why are you bringing me into this?
Yeah, all right.
Didn't you just run this last year to go on the board?
Who the hell cares?
They both ran.
No, Rick didn't run, he's an alternate.
No,
No.
no. They both ran as trustee of trust funds.
Okay, he ran for that. But he was
That's a
already
completely different-
there, I believe, before.
That has nothing to do with this.
It has a lot to do. Ellen's been looking into it anyways. Which is why I said, let's just let this ride, and Rick's working with Ellen.
Well, you're the one who brought it up, but
Yeah, but he's brought up taking Rick off is my point. I think we ought to leave it alone until Rick clarifies what he wants to do in the next couple of weeks. Was my point, because he'd worked with Ellen on the thing to straighten it out. We either get off one or the other.
so in
or-
your mind, how do I factor into this equation?
You just ran this last time, right?
Who gives a crap?
That has nothing.
I've
That
been,
has everything to do with it,
No,
for
doesn't.
Christ's sakes.
Whoa,
no, it does
whoa.
not. I've been duly elected and I'm serving.
I
What are
understand
you talking
that,
about?
but he was duly appointed for you duly elected.
Okay. he's-
Okay, that's my point. He's already an alternate. And,
Roy,
and the
Roy.
the rules just came up that he can't be on recently. Somebody realized it. So Rick's worked with Ellen to figure out what he's gonna do. That's my point.
Can't believe it.
I'm not gonna listen anymore. I made a motion, it was seconded, all those in favor?
The motion was to accept these
Accept that
with the
page.
changes, right?
Right.
With, motion is to accept planning board clarification, which is, we all signed, and Rick's name's not on it. I'm not trying to do anything against Rick.
Oh, you just did.
No, I'm not. I am trying to say that when we have the public hearing next meeting, that if he signs that, somebody can come in and say, wait a minute,
He can't sign it because he can't be promoted yet.
Very quickly, Mr. Chairman, one quick statement. The duties of members of this board of the town of Ossipee, not the other elected officials or appointees or anybody else on the board, any individual that is sitting here can represent themselves. They do not need you, me, or anyone else on this board to defend them here.
I'm not defending anybody.
I'm just stating that the discussion we're having is between that gentleman and the town, and he needs to figure out what he wants to do, and if he would like me to resign, then he needs to come and speak to me. This discussion does not involve this board. His status does not involve you or anyone else,
No,
and you defending him is completely ridiculous. He
I
doesn't need
disagree
you
with
to
that.
defend him.
I'm entitled to my damned opinion.
You're here to represent the town of Ossipee, not
You
Rick St.
represent
James.
the town.
what I am
Jesus Christ.
what I did by my motion was to remove his name so that if it does pass at the next public hearing, which we will have next month, that if he signed it, someone could bring it up. There is a conflict of state law, so.
But he can't sign it until the conflicts is figured out, is my point.
The motion was made and seconded and voted in the affirmative.
Anybody opposed,
Yeah, I'm opposed.
abstaining?
Yes. Make a motion that we have a public hearing on May 1st, 2018 to adopt. Oh, wait a minute. Gotta back up because make a motion that we accept the application, excavation permit application as presented.
Second that.
Discussion on it. Well, we already adapted that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
Sorry. I withdraw the,
It's already done.
we already did it.
Did it.
We did it earlier.
I withdraw.
I do have one quick question, Mr.
I
Chairman.
make a motion. Sorry.
Just a quick question. On this special use permit that we adopted recently, just a little bit ago, do we need to adjust the fee schedule to add the certified notification?
No.
Okay.
We did not, I don't remember taking the excavation permit. Laura, I don't remember doing the excavation permit.
No, we haven't done the permit, I'm still working on that.
No, you have one in the book. It's revised for,
Yeah, that's the permit, that's the permit, that's not the application.
Right.
That's the final permit.
yeah, we haven't done that.
Yeah,
We
we
did.
did that at the last meeting.
But not the
No.
application.
We have not done the application because I'm still working on it.
I thought we did.
No,
Okay,
we did that one, we haven't done the application.
all right. Well, that's part of the regulation which will come up next month. Make a motion that we have a public hearing on the earth excavation and reclamation regulations and subdivision and boundary line adjustment regulations. Public hearing on that.
Second.
Made and seconded,
I'm sorry, what date?
May 1st.
May 1st.
Any day.
You gonna answer on the phone?
I'm sorry, the second.
Roy? Any discussion on that?
That, no, but I have one more form.
Oh, I mean, when I, when we
After the camera shut off.
Um, is it pertaining to,
Excavations.
is it part of the regulations?
Probably.
All right? I withdraw, you gotta withdraw.
I'll withdraw then.
I'll withdraw.
So once Laura completes the permit application revisions, that we will vote on the entire regulation?
No,
No. But we'll establish a hearing then, at that point.
no, not on an application, we don't.
Okay, thanks, Laura. Oh, right,
Because
I got you.
What I'm giving you is apparently the calculation formula for determining the reclamation fees. Now, if you look at the top, it says it hasn't been done since 2007. And I need the board to do some investigation as to,
the state has this,
I called the state, no, they do not.
they don't, because
Nope.
that's where we got it the last time.
State hasn't updated in quite a while on any of it.
According to this, if you look under the assumptions, the rates were based on rental and or contractor quotes obtained March 7th of 2007, I mean.
Including driver.
So this tells me whoever created this form, because I checked around with the rest of the town employees and nobody has seen this form before.
Oh, we've seen it. As a board, we've seen this, because we've
Okay.
gone over it.
But
And
This form?
these fees need to be updated and
Your loader fees are pretty close, your dozer's low,
Well,
your
the-
topsoil's low, I don't know about the hydroseed.
again,
And your,
I would like if you
Some help.
guys could reach out to, because I'm not from here.
I can get these fees tomorrow.
Quick question, Laura.
My
With
brother does it.
this
I just need to know the
organization,
base rate and I can calculate the rest of it, but
this organization at the bottom that's noted,
I notified
they're no
them.
longer,
No.
okay,
They're still in existence.
but they're no longer setting these,
They have, I contacted them last week, they have no clue where these fees or anything came from.
okay.
Being I have a bunch of brothers and other friends in excavation, I can get you some fees real quick.
That's fine, but before I can update this form, I need to know what the going rate is.
So we should get at least 3 for each, so we can average them.
Exactly.
the problem that I foresee is if we adopt, say, 6,500, and this is what we've used, you're going to ask each applicant as they come for renewal to go to the 65?
Yeah, because it's current conditions as opposed to way back when they started.
Because the regulations are gonna be updated to current fee schedule.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of them grumbled when they had to put $30,000, $32,000 up, and, you know,
Well, can we just go to new pits, or is that discrimination?
well, that's what I'm asking.
Well, go ahead, Pete.
And this may not entirely pertain to this, but it's an object, it's something that, a subject that we've come across in business, and that is when we're renting commercial property for long periods of time. A lot of time, they might have a tenant for 15, 20 years, and their original deposit or security deposit may have been $500, we'll say.
Yeah, on the current market.
Correct, we came into an issue with this, and it is absolutely within our right to demand more of a security as time progresses, especially with long-term tenants to
Without-
secure repairs.
But is that part of your original contract.
You
That
would,
is where, what I'm saying is,
as she stated, when they came in for a renewal, the new renewal process, or to execute an option, that's when you could impose that.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing that says you can't, in a renewal document of that nature, you can't,
Yeah.
you're not bound by the original terms. You can modify them to reflect current economic conditions.
Correct.
Can we modify that so if you've had no offenses, that your deposit's fine, but if you had an offense, you are gonna pay more?
no.
I don't think that's,
No, that becomes.
Yeah.
But
That's
I would say that if we're gonna do that, that under fees, in the regulation itself, that we say, subject to present cost at renewal time, so that we don't, then we can have a leg to stand on.
Right.
oh, we can, if it's not in there, we should add it.
Yeah, we
should
Or I
add
don't know about
something.
subject costs, but maybe we should add something along the lines of language like, at renewal process, additional fees for increased cost of reclamation may be imposed, or something like that.
Well, I mean, I think either that or,
Because that's how we got into the bind with Morse, right? That's why we only have
No.
$6,000 there, or?
no, they never,
They
they
never
were
put
told-
never put money out.
no, they put 20,000 in.
A lot of that got wasted due to,
But by the
New
time they
diagram
got
and stuff.
through,
Knew what?
by the time they got through with attorney fees and,
New reclamation
engineering
plans.
fees, there was only 6,000 left.
I don't know if he had a plan, but they didn't use the plan. If he had one, they did a whole new one.
Okay.
And so that really screwed it up. So I don't know if the ball got dropped at both ends or what
Alright.
happened, but.
All right, I didn't mean to open up that
Okay,
can of worms.
I can solve this right now. 4.4D, maintenance and or reclamation of access roads in accordance with 6.2 of these regulations. The amount of cashier's check shall be set by the regulator at the time of permit issue and will be based on current per acre cost of reclamation plus the cost of road maintenance.
It's already there.
All right, so it's already there.
So we're already covered.
All
So
right.
no matter what we give them as far as this goes, it's.
All right, so
So we
this,
just need to update this for.
this is not,
Yes.
this is not part of the regulations then.
If I can get a minimum of 3 quotes from 3 different contractors
Yep.
on these costs, and then I can redo the sheet.
Yeah, and
I mean,
based,
I would say that this shouldn't be part of the regulation
I
itself.
agree, but it'd be a
It's got to
guideline.
be what, no,
she just-
what we've got to do is to modify the schedule, fee schedule again, which we can do.
Right.
To include that
Are you
figure.
sure? Because the way she read that, we have a right to charge the present
At current
Things.
rates, right.
current rate. So
Correct,
all we gotta
but-
do is keep up an updated current rate every year.
But
We don't need to
it
modify the
goes,
fees.
it goes under the fee schedule. It does not go under the regulations itself.
That is correct.
But we still don't need to change that. We just need to make a thing that we can keep this updated in the fee schedule and put it in the fee schedule. Because it says we can, the way she read that, we have a right to keep it modified every year.
Correct, that's the, in that, but it's on the fee schedule, it's not in the regulation.
That's correct.
So does that mean we have to have can we change that ourselves? We have to have a public hearing every time?
When you change the fee schedule, we have to have a public hearing.
Then why bother? Because she just read, we have a right to update it anytime we want to.
Because you're changing a fee which must have a public hearing.
Right, right.
Well, technically speaking, don't change much for 2 or 3, 4 years at a time on average, so we can update this, update the fees every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, like you say, Roy, if it turns out that there's some escalation because of construction costs have soared, then we obviously become aware of it and make the change then.
Well,
You see, your loader hasn't changed much, your dozer is a little bit higher. Your topsoil is a little bit higher.
Right.
and your haul's higher because truck drivers are getting scarce, so truck drivers are going from like $16 an hour to $23 an hour average pay now, plus maintenance, so that's gonna change.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm aware of all this stuff, I still keep my fingers in a little excavation occasionally. And I guarantee you the hydroseed and the fertilizer's gone up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I can call Cameron's and my brothers, they both do it, and if somebody else can call a couple other people that do it, we can compare the prices.
Make a motion
That'd be per acre.
that earth regulation and reclamation regulations and subdivision and boundary line adjustment regulations have a public hearing on May 1st, 2018.
Second.
Sorry.
Mr. Steve, we'll see you later, sir.
Yes, sir. I tried. I tried.
Right, what?
Left, missed by 17 minutes.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Hey, be good, Steve.
Be safe.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Make a motion that we get at least 3 reclamation estimates per a new fee schedule.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. McDonald's will have on Thursday, May 3rd, at 3 p.m. an open house. You are cordially invited to attend an open house in celebration of their newly re-imaged McDonald's restaurant.
We'll be serving refreshments.
On the 3rd, yeah, free burgers, right?
Doesn't say that, so have your money ready.
No, you can't accept them.
I've already been. I paid.
Does anyone else have any other business in front of us?
Anything from,
Motion.
anything from.
He doesn't.
Oh, I just come to listen.
He
I like to
doesn't.
ask
I'm
questions every
asking.
once in a while, I'll throw something out there,
We're
but for
just
the most time,
asking.
this is a learning process for me. You'll see me around.
Motion has been made to adjourn, any second.
I'll second.
Motion is seconded by Tim. All those in favor?
No discussion.
I'm ready. You go ahead, John.
I'm lost, I brought 2 things.
Edward, turn that off.